50 seconds later, you can see it from here, we got all those 10,000 test cases executed, and we can look at it from the results page. We can see that, yes, 51 seconds, and the actual configuration options can be browsed through here. So you can reproduce the same from command line if you need, or you can save it as a test plan, like I have saved it, and then load that as a command line test scenario as well. So instead of running a tool in single-threaded mode, we can try dual threads, and this should increase the efficiency slightly, but it's hard to predict how much in a setup like this where the CPU is actually totally consumed almost with one test generator even. So it should give about like 50% increase. Last time it took 50 seconds, so this should execute a little bit faster. But let's see how much faster. While it's executing, we can configure the other two on the same setup. So again, single-threaded, same test target, same test case, 10,000 times. Let's make it 5,000 times when we run the test cases in parallel. And we can see that it took almost the same time in multi-threaded mode, which is due to the fact that we are short on hardware resources, especially with the webinar software running as well. And when we run two setups with each one of them running now 5,000 test cases, so total 10,000 test cases in parallel processes, basically. So each one of these is running in parallel process. The GUI is one process, and then each one of these suites is a parallel process. And underneath each suite is then the threads that you select. In this setup, we select the all category, which gives you the main pane on which you can see each one of the tests and the status it is in. So each one of these is now completed, and we just click execute parallel, and both of these processes are launched from the controller, and they are now executing in their own memory spaces. And as you can guess, both of them take a specified amount of memory, which you can test in your own setup, how much that is. Approximately each one of the parallel processes, it's good to reserve at least enough memory for the execution to run, but also enough memory to also be able to browse the results. So creating all the results then will create and reserve a bit slightly more memory from the execution as well. So now we can see that again we got a slight improvement from the original 50 seconds, but not much, because like in the earlier test, we are very short on hardware resources. Some setups that you can also use in optimizing the test performance, and this is very critical environment for many tools if you want to speed them up, is using the memory for test suites option. So if we add more memory for each one of the test suites, that means that now each one of these one gets more memory to use, and therefore can perform much more effectively. It shouldn't impact the test execution in this setup much, because again we are short of memory as well. But in your own setups, if you have more high performance hardware, then you should see slight change in the operation potentially with that option as well. Another area that is covered in the white paper is different special options, including some hidden options from command line that you cannot do in the graphical user interface. So please check the white paper if you are interested in running even more high performance testing. For example, one area that can impact your test efficiency is just adding like a slight 10 millisecond delay in between all test cases, and sometimes that can help the operating system in actually delegating the test cases better and doing context switches between the test cases when you are running sort of some resources in the setup. Another option that is available in the logging options, if you are documenting every single valid case, and remember we are now running a valid case in a loop, it will of course consume a lot more CPU power. If we don't do any logging, we should immediately see a huge increase in the test execution. Sometimes even like 2 times faster without any logging enabled. Sometimes even more. So again, it depends on the hardware setup and the operating system setup that you are using. Huge improvement, like you can see. So from original 50 seconds, we were immediately down to less than 20 seconds of test execution. I'm sorry if there's any problems with the webcast, but hopefully you will hear me okay. And I'll go directly to the few concluding slides that I have.